Shailendra Singh, also known as Sustain Mantra. Shailendra, Shailendra sir is sustainable development strategist with keen appreciation of the impact of climate change on business models. He has done Bachelor of Chemical Engineering, UDCT, Mumbai, and MBA, JBIMS, Mumbai. He has over 3 decades of technical and commercial experience. Yeah. Please. He has over 3 decades of technical and commercial experience in chemical, plastics, and packaging with leading global MNCs in Asia Pacific region in senior leadership role. He firmly believes that in order to bring out change at scale, the 4 C's are most important. The first one, collaboration. Second one, commitment. Third one, commerce. And the last one, the most important, communication. Then I would welcome our next industry expert, Dr. Hishmi Jamil Hussain, who is Head Biodiversity, Corporate Sustainability, Tata Steel Limited. Dr. Hishmi Jamil Hussain is a distinguished speaker and lead author for the Asia Pacific region of the Biodiversity Assessment of the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, which is also known as IPBES. Currently, he is Head Biodiversity, Corporate Sustainability at Tata Steel. Welcome you, sir. Next, we will be having Mr. Dipankar Ghosh, Partner and Leader, Sustainability and ESG Business Advisory Services. Mr. Dipankar has done BE and MTech in Chemical Engineering, PG Diploma in Management and Chartered Engineering, Institute of Engineers, India. He has more than 30 years of experience in leading solutions and teams around the subject matter of sustainability and human development. Climate change, ESG, resource efficiency, sustainable technology, renewable energy, and climate financing as well. He has worked with clients across geographies including corporates, governments, multilateral and bilateral agencies as well. Welcome you, sir. Welcoming the next industry expert, Mr. Rajat Srivastava. He is an experienced professional with over 16 years of experience in environmental and sustainable services. He leads the country operations for ESG services for Jacobs Engineering Group in India, where he is involved in providing a wide variety of sustainability and environmental services, which includes decarbonization, environmental climate change advisory, circular economy, and other broad range of ESG services. Welcome all of you, sir, for the panel discussion. Can we have the big hand, please? So for the panel discussion, we having a topic, and that is mandatory sustainability reporting in India. And for that, I would request Dr. Hishmi Jamil Hussain to All right. Actually, Dr. Bakita Kataria is going for out of time. So for that, we will conduct felicitation before we go ahead with the panel discussion. So I would like to call Dr. Babita Kataria for that. She is the placement officer of Jamia Hamdard University, and I would request her to felicitate and welcome all the industry experts. Thank you.
So good afternoon, students. आवाज़ नहीं आई. Good afternoon, students. Yes. Now I think our environment is lively. So because doing a welcome, it should be always with enthusiasm. So we wanted to definitely welcome our guests, all the guests which are on the dais. And first of all, I will like to say a few words for the university. I am very much happy that I have been appointed over here as the honorary director in the industry interface cell, and we have named as Industry Academia Partnership Cell. So definitely I will also thanks to my chancellor and the soul over here. We have a soul. I think when I entered in this university, I was very happy that I had a very positive vibes of someone who is here. So it is in the name Jamia Hamdard. So यहाँ पे मैं हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों का इस्तेमाल करती हूँ, जिससे कि मैं अपनी अपना पूरा का पूरा एक्सप्रेशन दे पाऊँ, अपना सब कुछ बता पाऊँ कि जो यहाँ पे हो रहा है मेरे साथ. मैंने अभी 8 महीने पहले यहाँ पे ज्वाइन किया, एंड आई एम वेरी हैप्पी कि वो जो पॉजिटिव सोल है हमारे चारों तरफ, जो हमारे हकीम जी हैं जिन्होंने इस यूनिवर्सिटी को बनाया, उन्होंने ऐसा नाम दिया हमदर्द. और वाकई ये बात थी कि हम यहाँ पे आके एक दूसरे का दर्द इधर से उधर आदान प्रदान कर रहे हैं, एक दूसरे का सुख. आज हम वी आर सो हैप्पी ओवर हियर, एवरी फेस इज स्माइलिंग, एंड दिस इज ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ हिम, बिकॉज आई एम ऑल्सो स्माइलिंग एंड लुकिंग ऑन यू, एंड आई एम फीलिंग सो हैप्पी. एंड आई थैंक्स टू द chancellor sir, to Hakim ji, and to our vice chancellor, honorable vice chancellor sir, that he has given the opportunity to serve this organization Jamia Hamdard. Now I will just give you a small story of Industry Academia Partnership Cell which we are running over here. We have number of programs. We have 12 programs over here in this university, and we are trying to develop a central cell of this university, where we will be inviting all the industry people, not only for placements. We are not talking about placement. My fundamental thinking is that if my student is ready for the industry, no industry will leave my student. So I am working on those terms and conditions that my student should be developed like that, so that industry will ask me, give your students to us so that we can work with them. We wanted to work with them. So we wanted to work for the students, and for the I request all my faculty members over here that definitely please keep a keen eye on these students, because they are going in the industry, they are the next masters, they are the next employers, they are the next employees. So thank you very much, and I really welcome Mr. One minute. Mr. Shailendra Singh, Dr. Hishmi, Dr. Dipankar Ghosh. I think you are doctor, you're not? Okay, sorry. So Mr. Dipankar and Mr. Rajat, and during tea time we have met also, and they have an ample of knowledge with them. So today it is a time to take that knowledge, enhance your knowledge, and think what actually industry is requiring, and develop yourself, because it is that point, or it is a time where you are going to turn yourself and the industry. Thank you so much, and welcome to all my guests on the dais.
Can we have the big hand, please? And now I would request ma'am to felicitate our industry experts. So the first one to be felicitated, Mr. Shailendra Singh. Please sir, can we have the hands? Now, Dr. Jamia. Please sir, can we have the hands, please? Now, Mr. Dipankar our next industry expert will be Mr. Rajat Srivastava. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Can we have the hands please once again? So everybody, shall we initiate the panel discussion? Yes? Everyone? Fantastic. All right. So the topic for the panel discussion is mandatory sustainability reporting in India. And for that, I would like to know the views from Dr. Jamia. Please, sir.
these agenda actions are vision for the growth, vision of the development, which are enhancers and how we individually can help in contributing. So it is not just something that the government will take a responsibility or this is something that we have to maintain the responsibility. This is a responsibility of each individual. So know all of these numbers and this is also when we are talking about our working, so directly is correlated with your performance in the CSR fund. When you are talking about the CSR fund, so you are talking about how many people you are working with your program and how many people are going to change your life. And this is a part of the native development. So when the native development are integrated in such a way that your sustainable development goals, your ESG targets, and your business objectives, because every business is not changing, the world is changing. So we do not know whether how the future will change, how the future will act for the other investments. There are the respective categories. Sometimes we know that our state business goes to what creating the other things. Now I will say this is correct. So why do people are going to do? Because we have not designed the business that one day this plastic will be a problem in the institution. Similarly, regarding the steel industry, we know that the steel is going to be replaced with other materials. We know that we do not have the availability to be started from material things. Not that means that people are investing, looking at how this new material will work for it. When you are thinking about that the electron will be one of the resources which is going to be replaced with hydrogen. Now there are companies that are producing companies that we are replacing all these tools with the hydrogen. So the future is very, very different. To make your calculation, to make your target, to create a position very different.
Thanks so much. Mr. Department Board, please, sir, your views.
How do we control that? इसी लैपटॉप में है ना?
जी
तो किसको ऊपर?
नहीं ये हो जाएगा।
अच्छा हाँ, तो वो लैपटॉप यहाँ चाहिए तो फिर इंसान कर पाएंगे। Thank you very much, and I think today's topic is very relevant because sustainability and digitization, in the earlier session only we had heard the relationship, and sustainability is such a topic where huge amount of data information and other things are required to be processed, and therefore the digitization is such an important component. Today, all the sustainability initiatives driven by companies, driven by government, driven by the global community is so much driven by data analytics and things like that. Artificial intelligence is something what we heard in the morning. So I think this is a very strong relationship between sustainability and digitization, and also the topic of this particular session where we are talking about the reporting requirements, and the reporting is something where again it's not that the organizations or government what they are doing, it is a disclosure of what is being done, so that it creates a traction, it creates a synergy between different types of organization, between companies, private companies and government, and so on and so forth. So this disclosure is so important, and will be what I will do, I will talk about a few of such global initiatives and standards and frameworks which helps organizations to disclose the sustainability or ESG performance. Right. So many of you hear the term sustainability as well as ESG. I will just demystify that a little bit. See what happens classically. Sustainability is something which we call triple bottom line sustainability. It stands on three pillars. What is the economic performance of an organization, environmental performance of an organization, and social performance. So it is believed today that for an organization only economic performance is not sufficient enough. It is also important that we should have proper environmental or social performance. And these three pillars stand on a bedrock which is called governance. So good governance is something which is so much necessary, and as we see in all facets of our life. Sometimes this is to be also referred to as people, planet, profit, like PPP, people referring to the social performance, planet referring to the environmental performance, and profit referring to the economic performance. So recently we are coming across this term ESG a lot. It's the same thing. We are talking about environmental, social, and governance. And when investors are looking into companies' performance, this ESG term is used more and more in that context. And the significant contributors to this sustainability, organization's value creation, that is also becoming very important. How an organization's existence creates social value. And there are 6 capitals, as you can see on the right hand side bottom of the screen, which are natural capital, social capital, manufactured capital, financial capital, human capital, and intellectual capital. How organizations actually work on these capitals for a value creation for the social good. I will talk a little about how organizations mature when it comes to sustainability. At the beginning, any organization, when it starts its journey on sustainability or ESG, whatever we call it, it starts with trying to be compliant. The regulations, rules, how we comply to those regulations and rules. The organization becomes a compliant organization. Then it starts building efficiency into its operations. It tries to use minimal energy, it tries to use minimal resources to deliver or the product it wants to do and increase productivity. So organization becomes efficient, it becomes optimized, and finally an organization in this maturity curve as it progresses, it becomes the leader. So it tries to kind of motivate others in the sector. It tries to actually create a consensus within the society that this is how an organization should function. So the whole journey happens from risk management to impact creation to value creation of the pie for the society. So that is the context we should understand for any organization. This is the journey typically, as we have seen organizations where Dr. Hishmi is there. It is a very advanced stage of maturity. The Tata Steel is one of the icons. It is well respected, regarded. But there are organizations which are starting their journey. They are actually somewhere in the curve. Now, ESG disclosure or sustainability disclosure. Now you will hear that ESG and sustainability are kind of interchangeable kind of word. So this disclosure landscape has actually evolved over the last couple of decades in a very significant manner. On one hand, globally, the line at the bottom shows how the global developments has happened on sustainability disclosure. So the initial step, in the beginning of this century, around 2000 or so, this global reporting initiative, GRI, came into being, and that is now today one of the perhaps most respectable or most widely used sustainability disclosure framework. And then there are different other things which has come up over the years, carbon disclosure project, where we are talking about disclosing the carbon emission. And today, we all know that climate change due to carbon emission is one of the most critical challenge for the overall the humanity. In fact, I do not know, some of you might have seen, few weeks back there was an article in the journal Economist which said that if we are able to tackle the climate related problem, most of the other problems related to environmental sustainability can perhaps be solved. There can be debates on that, but nevertheless the fact remains climate today is one of the biggest challenge before humanity. And therefore, over the last several years, the climate related disclosure has been in a center stage of sustainability disclosure. It is one of the components of sustainability, and that disclosure has become increasingly important. Similarly, if you look at the line at the top, in India, 2011, perhaps the Indian government side, there was some mandatory requirement of disclosure. And that used to be called what? BRR, Business Responsibility Reporting, which I think came into force from 2013, if I'm not mistaken, right? Although the guidelines came in 2011, but it was mandatory, I think, from 13. Companies Act was updated in 2013. It was the age-old act where new components came in, and the SEBI, Securities and Exchanges Board of India, talked about integrated reporting, which is not only doing a standalone sustainability or ESG disclosure, but combine it with your financial disclosure. So financial and non-financial disclosure getting combined together, which gives your organization stakeholders what the performance is all about. And there has been an increasing debate that there is nothing called non-financial performance. Why? Because every non-financial performance today for an organization is very much related to the financial performance of the organization. So there's a new set of thinking which is coming in, that nothing called non-financial performance or non-financial disclosure. It is all related to some kind of financial performance of the company. And very recently in India, about it a little later in my presentation to the last few slides, the new thing which has come up, Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting Requirement, BRSR, which kicks off from 2023 for top 1,000 companies in India. Top 1,000 means top 1,000 as per the market cap. So for these organizations, the government has mandated that along with the annual report publication, we have to publish BRSR, which will be covering salient features of sustainability performance. Now there's a huge plethora. This slide, if you see, there's a huge plethora of disclosure landscape. There are frameworks, there are ESG ratings. Dr. Ishmi was talking about DJSI. MSCI is also there. Dow Jones Sustainability Index, that is DJSI. Sustainalytics, an Indian-based organization, has come up with sustainability matrices. Then there are ESG regulations, there are sustainability standards, GRI I talked about, there are several others. So there's a plethora of such frameworks. So industry or organizations are sometimes kind of confused what to follow, how to follow, and what are the key takeaways. And a lot of initiatives globally is now happening. This is, of course, I will not discuss on this. This gives you a timeline. This, I think, deck should be available to all the participants later on. So you can see how and when things have come in. But what I wanted to tell is that there is a global, initiative on consolidation of these various standards and guidelines, which is existing across, the world. So ultimately now, something called International Sustainability Standards Board, ISSB, an initiative very recently, last few years, this has been initiated. It is taking a cue from international financial reporting standards and creating a guideline and consolidated set of guidelines for sustainability disclosure. And it is drawing from various previous, frameworks which has been present for last so many years. And that is actually the consolidation that, towards which the world is actually going. I will go back one slide and talk a little bit about, emphasize a little more on the climate related disclosure that is gaining ground over the years. And GRI and IR, GRI is the Global Reporting Initiative, IR is the Integrated Reporting Framework. They, of course, talked about, the climate related disclosures. But what is happening is, the investors to any company or any organization, they are increasingly looking at what you call climate risk of an organization. We hear about stories like, because of drought in Gujarat a few years back, all the workers, abandoned that region. So there was a serious crunch for laborers. Then, because of inclement bad weather conditions, cyclone, typhoon, etc., the regions get devastated, coastal areas, for example, they get submerged. So there is a climate risk for any business entity, any organization. So, the investor, if I'm an investor to an organization, I would like to know what is the climate risk this organization is facing, whether my investment is secured or not. So the focus on climate risk and climate reporting gained importance over the last few years, and which resulted in something called TCFD, Task Force for Climate Related Financial Disclosure, which means not only what are the climate risk, but what are the financial implications of the climate risk for an organization. So that is becoming so important. I think there are a couple of other examples I have given. This is something and across the world different kind of developments are happening. The Securities and Exchanges Commission, US, they are also bringing in more stringent rules of disclosure, which again significantly encompass or incorporate the climate related disclosure of the organization's risk. In Europe, if you look at the European Commission and this European Financial Reporting Advisory Group, FRAG, they are also bringing in new disclosure requirements, which significantly emphasizes on climate risk and its disclosures. And in India, the stock exchanges like BSE and NSE, Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange, they are part of what you call Sustainable Stock Exchanges Initiative, where we are talking about the ESG guidance or ESG or sustainability disclosure related requirements, which prompted eventually SEBI, the Securities and Exchanges Board of India, to come up with what we call BRSR, which I talked about a little earlier. And BRSR requirement talks about there should be general disclosure, there should be management processes disclosure on them, and of course the 9 principles provided by BRSR. Across those principles, how the organization is faring. And it talks about 4 enablers: leadership commitment, which is important for any organization; the employee engagement, how employees are inducted into the whole process of sustainability or ESG; stakeholder engagement, who are my stakeholders of the organization and how I am dealing with them; and finally disclosure and reporting. These are the 4 key elements of BRSR, which talk about how eventually reporting will shape up. And when BRSR has actually been framed, you will be happy to note that it has actually drawn references from several global guidelines as well as framework, and tried to make it very, very comprehensive and useful for the industry. So with that, I think I will stop, and if any questions are there, I am happy to take later, but I think before that we will go for presentation of the others. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I will have Mr. Rajat Srivastava, please.
Hello?
Can you all hear me? Wonderful. So, first of all, thanks to Jamia Hamdard for inviting me for this panel discussion. It's my absolute pleasure to be here. Secondly, I was noticing on the screen that it's possibly the time now to call it the School of Management and Sustainable Business Studies, because of likely that term often gets missed out. Coming to the subject at hand, I'm going to precisely finish about 3-4 minutes because I know you're already back from lunch. We just heard a lot of things about framework, disclosures, and I think sometimes we tend to complicate what this subject is all about. Sustainability is a multifaceted subject, and each element of that can be a universe in itself. So for students who are just starting or maybe starting their career in business management, let me help demystify what all this really means. So we just heard or we have read. 2-3 things I'd like to say. First, a business is environment, and the environment has an impact on the business. So that's the first principle. Now, nothing I'm going to say here, we haven't learned already in your management studies. The second one that most businesses will consider is, what's the risk to my business, right? And so many of you have heard this popular term called VUCA, volatile, unpredictable, and how you manage a business in this volatile and unpredictable world. What you will hear now is the word resilience. So despite all these things that's happening, how do we make our business resilient? Now, in order to do that, the management of the company has to be aware of the risk involved. Let me tell you a couple of interesting statistics. Climate risk, biodiversity risk, these were not even in the top 1,000 global companies board meetings till as late as 2013-2014. It's only in the last 5 to 6 years that these have been recognized as a risk and therefore gets discussed at the board level. So it's very new, and this is important for people like you, because you're starting your career. By the time you join a company, this may become common things that a company talks about. So at the heart of it, it's about risk management. Any good business will manage its risk. I mean, COVID was a great example. The supply chains got disrupted, suddenly you have to change your business models. Many companies went bankrupt, and now the war has happened and so on. And imagine there is a climate event, of that nature. How do you protect your business? So that's sort of the third thing. How do you get companies to focus on this, and use the word business responsibility reporting? So responsibility means it's not just about making money, it's about ensuring that you are creating not only economic capital, but also social capital and natural capital. You're giving back to the planet what you're taking from it. Now, in that context, when you have these frameworks and reports which are in public domain, so if you're a company listed on the stock exchange, it's a report that you put out that any one of us can read. It puts an onus on the management of the company to factor these risks, to discuss it internally, to organize themselves to overcome this risk. So that's one purpose of having this reporting need. And so, why is risk management important? What do most businesses do, right? They need money to run, to grow. And where is that money going to come from? From investment banks, from private equity investors, people who have capital. So they want to know how are you managing your resources and how are you protecting yourself against this risk due to climate and social factors. So if you remember these three things, you're on good basic ground. Then there are details about the GRI framework and DRSR, which is actually based on 9 principles of responsible investment. So look that up on Google. What are the principles of responsible investment? The DRSR is on that, and the GRI framework. The last thing I want to say, and I end here, and the question is India really enough? Top 1,000 companies by market cap. You know how many companies are there in India? They are into millions if we take into account MSMEs and stuff. So is that enough? That the top 1,000 companies are working? And you can answer yes or no, but I personally believe that it's not enough, but at least it's a beginning. And so if these top 1,000 companies practice the principles of responsible investment, that the message will percolate in the communities that they interact with, in the supply chain. They will talk to their vendors, they will talk to their employees, treat them well, and so on. So, Resort to me is the first step. We will see several evolutions over the next 5 to 6 years, but it is here to stay. And therefore, as students of management and potential leaders, this is going to be the single largest topic that you will have to deal with in the coming 20, 30 years, 40 years of your career. So there's always plenty to do. It's never enough. And to end, I would say that we are actually trying to build a new economy, all social development goals, circular economy, whatever you're really trying to do. An economy that is good for the planet and also good for the people to run the business. So hopefully that is simple enough. I'm happy to take questions later on. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Next, I would request from Mr. Srivastava, please. Few points.
On the onset, I'd like to thank Jamia for having me here, and I will try to capture your interest. The challenge of doing last is most of the points have been spoken, and at the same time, I have audience trying to capture your interest. So I try. But I'm from Lagos, where I live a certain point, and I look at things on the sustainability, ESG, environment, I believe in it all, and they look at it very fundamentally. Yes, they are local economic framework, mostly driven by the C26 meetings. Global leaders are making commitments. The companies are making commitments trying to go to more green. But what does it mean for inclusiveness and for on-ground implementation of grades? Should this be mandatory for India? They are looked at it very simplistically. For you to mandate something or impose something, it has to be simple enough, accessible enough, not for the big organizations, but for small, medium, all sort of, even one person business on the ground. We have such huge diversity as a country. We have one person running a hawker on the street selling golgappas, whereas we have multi-disciplinary conglomerates like ITC, Tata, for example, who have diversified business portfolios. So you can't have one size fits all model. It will not be like, okay, this is the framework, report all these things financially, you're done. It can't be a cut, chop, paste exercise. It has to be made with no purpose. Then you can have a management meeting. Otherwise, you'll have some people who are well conversed, reading it, shaking it the way they are, because they have the pronounced impetus in the business. Whereas there is somebody else who is following what is being said because they don't have the accessibility. So, in order to be really made mandatory, obviously we have to incorporate what is done good globally. But looking at the climate change challenges, for example, it's unique to each country. The climate change challenge in the US is different to the climate change challenge in India, Australia, Africa. The elements are different. You can't have the same metrics going in. Also, I like to, the point made about everything being quantified financially. Very difficult. And in the business, we're working with a lot of organizations. You can't quantify everything financially. How do you quantify diversity financially? It's representation of different ethnicities. If you allocate a percentage of that ethnicity, is that good enough? No, you need to make it more holistic. We need to make it more inclusive, and we need to simplify it enough for all the industry, all the players, whether big or small, to understand what it means for them. And the driver for that shouldn't just be the regulatory or investment push. It should be a motivation, and like I said, their businesses are there to earn money. So we sometimes go to the market and select things, right? We go to get features. you go to like air flight chips versus flight chips. How many of you look at it, which of those chip packages is sustainable? You look at it, which is more healthy for you, right? And health is a sustainable component, but it has to be more us as folks recognizing that we need to go with an organization who's putting effort into sustainability sourcing. In fact, the sweet copper is more sustainable. It gets oversupplied and produces it for you. That means conglomerates were getting from a lot of places. And there is a place for all that. But just to cut it short, just to bring it back, I would say, you need to make it simple for us. We need to have a framework that can be rolled out and can be implemented simplistically for all. And we need to work with the conglomerates for leading it and having local representation. Take Amul for example. Amul sources the milk from local suppliers. They work with these small farms to get the milk. Mother Dairy is another example. We need to enable them to create the grassroots aspects, the grassroots means of sustainability to be implemented, to be able to track and to be able to take it to an endpoint where they need something. It's just not a number, it should mean something, it should take it to an endpoint. And that is what we need to define. Once we have that figured out, and it's a evaluation process, then it can be very manageable. Till that time, it will be a group, it will be a broadened topic that only a few will understand, and it will be very challenging for the people on the ground, for smaller communities to learn. So that is how I see it. I think it should be very mandatory, but it should be understanding in its fundamental what it means. And we should accept it as individuals to invite sustainability rather than just report it. And when we come to that point, that's the point where we make it mandatory or we put additional values.
So once again, I request all of you with warm hands for all the industry experts. Once again. So it's time for the Q&A. Everyone, Q&A, and I would like to request Dr. Manpreet Kaur, Assistant Professor of Jamia Department of Management, on behalf of you, keep go the brief Q&A with the industry expert. So can we have a big hand from us?
Thank you so much to our esteemed panelists. I'm sure our students have got a lot of clarity today regarding sustainable reporting and the challenges which organizations are facing. Indeed, it was explained in a very nice, simple manner, and I'm sure our students have got some hold of that for sure. But sir, there are some questions which our students have, and they have asked me to ask all of you. And they are pretty simple. They are innocent questions from our management school students. So, so I'll just start with the first question. What are the challenges which companies are facing while reporting sustainability reports? And this question I think should be routed to Dipankar sir because he was talking majorly about sustainability. So if you want the mic.
So once organization starts
that things go wrong, and that is the challenge which industry needs to work on.
I engage with companies which are, let's say, between 50 crores to about 800 crores turnover. Many of them are relevant. So what are the challenges there? First is the confusion around what is the sustainable, not even reporting about it. So like, let's say, where do we start, what do we do? So that's first challenge. The second challenge is how a sustainable action is beneficial for the company. Most companies are thinking bottom line. So how if I do this, it will help me in my bottom line. Third, I have come across, and I'm talking about family-run businesses, respected investors who have said, I like what you're saying, but I do this next year. But why should I do it when my neighbor isn't doing it? So there are these things about where is the fire? We all talk about climate risk, climate change, but we get बारिश होती है, droughts होती है, but we didn't. Where is the fire? So those are the things. Once they get over, and I think the central point is if you can draw a clear line of sight for the owner of the business. So if you did these actions around sustainability, here is the return on those actions and resources employed, that's when the tipping point happens. Last thing I want to say is once you have crossed the tipping point and people realize the benefits, then it's like a train with no brakes. People want to know, so they see the benefits. And lastly, you cannot remain excluded from this. It's a global phenomenon. So somewhere or the other is going to impact it. So those are some real life challenges.
Like I said, the reporting comes after, but are the means to the end? Is there technology or technical or other solutions readily available to achieve those needs? You want to reduce your carbon footprint by 50%? You have to do your business travel. You can't just say that, obviously, you can do certain things at certain point. But are there other solutions which are readily available to us? So, as an engineering consulting group, we run into those challenges. We come into organizations that don't like, you need to achieve this, but what are those technical needs? What is the maturity of those needs? And what is the accessibility of those needs? So that's where the hindrance or hesitation, as you said, comes to reporting that, because that is too cost prohibitive or that is too, unknown for them to venture into to achieve it. So we have to make it more accessible, more available, more understandable for everyone to make that reporting more inclusive as I said.
Okay, thank you so much for answering that question. The next question is again a simple question by a student, that is, are sustainable businesses today in India are getting any special grants from our government?
To the best of my knowledge, there isn't a specific grant if you are sustainable business, but there is a lot of policy work being done. For example, there's a national resource policy that we work on, where things like water, air, even waste would be considered as a resource. Between works in 2018, 2019, government is looking at policies that will help the MSME to, and one classic case that everybody knows right now is the whole ban on plastic, right? So the Ministry of MSME has said, if you are one of those companies that is affected by the ban, we will give you a soft loan to help you transition to another business model. There are several work that's going on circular economy, but I can't think of a specific brand. Maybe Dr. and Dr. may have
Maybe I think right If you want to make yourself, your society, everything the same, you need to act upon it. What I think that until the world going forum and other does not release the economic list or the list, there are five topics. So last year the topic was it was not a major disease, the COVID-19. This is close the world. So now everyone is looking at how we can review the list related to the COVID-19. We all know that the climate change is another very big list, but much more bigger list is the biodiversity loss. And no one, I think, in the world is not thinking how the virus loss is a bigger list in the climate is because this I want to give you to the example and you can go with it how the sustainability in the future and what are the benefits of it. When the climate change is happening, because of loss of the biodiversity, these changes are more severe. You guys remember in 2005, you most of them were very big, very small, that time the tsunami has came. So which are the areas which were protected by the tsunami? These were the areas which were regular and low. So now this correlate, you need to invest on the nature, now there is the nature restoration. So those who are investing on the nature restoration, they are capturing it in the carbon credit. They are capturing the nutrition market. The EU has put some taxes, so you can get the benefit if you are investing on the nature. We talk about the TCL, you know, the investment framework. I am working on another very new framework, which is TNLD, Task Force on the National Financial Resources. It is impossible to correlate these financial losses in terms of the nature loss. But we have to make something, some metrics which can help us to understand these are the risks which are associated with the climate. So if my business is shutting down for 2 days, how much monetary loss I am having? For reducing this loss, what are the actions? Similarly, this nature, which is aggregate loss, you will have in last year, we lost about 85% of the wetlands. With the loss of the wetlands, it is even of the flood in the cities, like in Delhi, a small amount of this. Recently, in the many parts of India, we double jump over to one of the activities we also try and talk about these statistics. Because the time of year I am not talking about on the aspect. So how the business can be designed, that is basically the sustainability. And it is only the benefit now we are working with the government, we are talking at the institution level, creating advocacy and people who are investing on the sustainability, they must get some of the extra benefits. But these benefits cannot be explained in the monetary terms. These are the levers who are thinking beyond 2100. Many of us do not realize that time, but people are working on it.
Thank you so much, sir. Just because of the paucity of time, I have just one last question, and then we can proceed for lunch. It is quite a good question just to wrap up this whole event, and that is how we as students contribute towards sustainable development of our country. What students can do actually about that.
Major problem is the first question was what is the challenge? Challenge is that we do not know. Until another, I do not know my constant level is high, I do not work out. This is similarly with the sustainability reporting, that many of us don't know how to do the reporting. As a student, because there is so many job opportunities, the people who know a little bit of sustainability, and if they are writing in the CV that they know about the reporting, integrated reporting, DGS, they know the name, they know the job. So as a student, you can receive so some of the framework which has been shown here. My suggestion is just develop your knowledge about all these sustainability frameworks, TCFD, TNFD. Many of the people don't know. Even I was talking some of the teachers session. They do not know what is the element third. You are very fortunate that your professors are talking about it. So as much as knowledge you will acquire, and as much as you will go to these forums and these conferences are some of the wonderful opportunities. I am sure that many of you are not interested to attend it. Because when I was a student, I was the same field. So but these are some value addition. Those who are absorbing the knowledge from it, they will be helpful.
So thanks. I mean, whoever asked the presidents of US and others and talks to them like you could. So that's the power you guys have. Second, don't think of yourself as students. We're all consumers, right? We're all human beings. And for every good thing, it starts at home. So like he said, be aware of, you know, you can calculate your own carbon footprint. You know, you, for example, at home, segregate wet waste from dry waste. You know, so these are things you can do as an individual. When it comes to a school or a campus, I can tell you now there are several campuses that have taken on the net zero strategy as a campus. Remember, this is a living organism. You are consuming power, paper, water, natural capital. So how do you make sure that you are circular in nature, or you're not taking more than what you're giving? And even if you do one small project, implementing and executing that project will make you learn more about sustainability than you ever do in classes and stuff. So that would be my
I'll just add to that, there is a very fundamental thing in terms of sustainability that we often miss, and it's the behavioral part. In fact, that is the most difficult thing for us when we have a new person, the behavioral aspect of a place. And look at it more fundamentally from safety. Safety often tries to not talk about radiation, but it is a very core component of being sustainable. Because if you don't value sustainable safety, it's actually you're caring for somebody else also, caring for yourself. It's the fundamental part of being Hamdard. It's the fundamental part of caring for others, caring for your well-being, caring for the entire environment. And it's the biggest, Dr. Rajat will probably in industry, there's something called behavior-based loss prevention, BBS. Which looks at whether in your mind you are a safe individual. You know, we often say, like, look at Mr. unfortunately passed away of Dr. recently, and it is a very fundamental thing. We don't put out people at the back. I get into fights in my own home with my mother and my wife when I tell them to do so. But you see the consequence of that. So you have to think of your actions. You have to create awareness to others. You have to be, as a student, as a person, somebody advocating sustainability, safety, and bringing it in your behavior as first. And once you do that, you will be able to, influence others positively in the right way. Don't coerce people, but learn how to do it. And that is the biggest skill that you can have and inculcate in you. Don't be a different person. I walk into this office, I'll be a safe person, I'll wear my safety gear, I'll do this sustainably, I go home and I'll be based. No, you cannot do that. You can't live through others. You have to bring it in your fundamental way. And that is what I'll say. That attitude part of it will help you become a successful, sustainable, wherever you go. So that's what I will say.
Just last concluding remarks for Dipankar sir, if the same question can be answered.
I think most of that is already said. And it is not necessary that all of you are contributing towards the sustainability, but today sustainability is not about a specific profession or a stream. Today, industry, business, organizations are trying to invite sustainability in all the functions. So no matter whether you are a HR professional, whether you are a investment professional, whether you are a operational professional, whether you are a finance professional, you have to see how you can invite sustainability into the organization, how you can bring in sustainability in the decision-making processes, all the decision-making processes, be it investment, be it creating metrics or and that is how you will be a responsible
Thank you so much to the wonderful panel discussion we had today. I'm sure many students have got a lot of insights about sustainability today in our session. Now, because we are just running short on time, I would just request everyone to please proceed for lunch. My panelists, my faculty members, please.
And everybody there is coming to you for tomorrow. Tomorrow we will see everyone here at 12 p.m. for the panel discussion. And then again at 2 p.m. And then again at 4 p.m. for the valedictory session. Now you may proceed for lunch, please. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience.
वसीम भाई बैग बेटा तू पीना लिए जा पहला खाना खा ले
काम करो
तो फोटो लेते हैं
अरे अभी ना लो खाना खा लो कुछ नहीं मिलना बच्चा कुछ नहीं